And so the thing about Kevin's thing on Breakfast Club, he opened my eyes to this. He
Yeah.
really opened my eyes to it. And if for those who weren't there, it was, Kevin talked about the inverse relationship between trust and risk. And his point was, and this is really, really clever if you think about it, it's really spot on, is okay, I'm an originator. I've made the decision that I definitely know that the fastest way to get some buyer transactions into my pipeline is to work with real estate agents.
Qualified
And then
agents.
and
Hmm.
then the next one is okay, not just any real estate agent. I have to work with real estate agents that we consider to be qualified, right?
Right.
We say at least 8 buy sides in the past 6 months these days, you definitely are going to want to look to real estate agents. In my opinion, you should go beyond that. You should be looking at real estate agents doing like 12, 15 buy sides in a year, something like that. I think you've got a really good shot at getting some business out of them. Let's put it this way. They actually have the capacity to give you a referral if that's their
That's right.
average. If they're doing
Yeah.
12, 15 buy sides a year, they've got buyers, man. They've proven it. It's in their track record. That's what they
Right.
do. They have the possibility of actually giving you a deal. So let's call on them. But what Kevin pointed out is that, okay, we're going to make a phone call, right? Now, Steve, obviously, an agent who's closing 12, 15 buy sides in a year, think they got a loan officer they've been working with for a while?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I would hope so. You think they're just
Yeah.
like, whoever, sure, come on in. I don't know, go find somebody. You know what I mean? Hopefully you can find a loan. Let me know if you get. They don't do that, right? They've got maybe one or two. They're the
Yeah.
steady go tos that they know.
Yeah.
Talk to this person, right? Because why? Because they trust them. Okay, they
Yep.
trust those originators. Now, when we drop out of the sky, into their life, into their day on a phone and they answer it, right? They actually answered the call and we say, I'm a lone person. We're a risk to them. We're a risk, right? We're like, there's no way. I don't believe this. If this does happen, I think it's very rare. I don't believe that any real estate agent who's of that caliber, right, when they get dropped in on by a loan officer, is going to go, "Oh, okay, sure, man. Yeah, well, hey, I got a referral for you right now. Let me send you something right now." It just doesn't make any sense because they don't know the person. They don't know you, right? They don't know who you are. They have
Yeah.
no idea who you are. So you are to them. If they were to actually do something like that, it would be a risk for them. That would be
Hmm.
risky, too
Hmm.
big of a risk. So you're coming in really as a risk, right? So we have to figure out how to go from being a risk, right, to being trusted before we
Hmm.
have any chance
Yeah.
of getting a referral from a great agent who's proven to be a qualified agent, an agent that does business. This is his or her history. This is what they do. We really want to build that trust with that agent, and we want to build that trust fast. We first of all, the first thing we need is the opportunity to build the
Yeah.
trust, right? We just that very first thing on that first call. How do we get? So, Steve, walk me through that. Like,
Hey,
I'm
what do
dropping
you
in out of
think? Yeah, like
nowhere.
what do you think it is that builds trust? So, like for you, what do you think would be some of the steps to build the trust, to be able to get them to? I always called it breaking the trust barrier. And the trust
Yeah,
barrier is where they give you the first relational lead. So
yeah,
from contact to trust, what do you think that is?
man. I think what it is there has to be some getting to know you, right? There,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
there has to be some sort of I need to figure this person out as just a person before anything
Mhm.
else. Like, do I like this person? Do I
Yeah.
feel like this person can is trustworthy? Right?
Yeah.
I need to
Yeah.
get to know the person first. Initially, I might be blocking that. Like, I don't have time. I don't want to get to know somebody else. I already got somebody. Right? I
Hmm.
already got somebody. So I don't need to figure out if I can trust you or not.
Hmm.
So that first call, because if I can meet with them, right?
Yeah.
Here's the truth, if I can meet with them on a Zoom, in person, or even
Yeah.
just have a dedicated time on the phone, maybe 15, 20 minutes, where we can just talk to each other.
Mm.
If I can have that moment with them, now I can start to, start to develop a little bit of trust because they can kind of get to know me as a person a little bit. I mean, am I
Yeah.
am I am I off
Yeah.
base here
I
or what do
like
you
it. No, I think it's great, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where do we go from there? I mean, what? How? Give me your advice. Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think about a couple of things. I think the first thing that goes through my head is trust is built in small kept promises.
Mm.
So I think once you make contact, when you do what you say you're going to do, like once you reach out, like I would even go further upstream, Frank. I'm an influence guy. It's the whole reason why I started the podcast. There's a difference between hunting and farming. And I think you got to hunt for today, but you also have to farm for the future.
Mm.
So I would go upstream a little bit. And I know, like inside of the marketing animals, we show people how to do targeted Facebook ads.
Yes.
I would work right now to be the mayor of my community. You're not looking for hundreds of thousands of followers. Listen, if you could just have the right community with 1,000, 2,000 people that are in and around what you're doing every day. So for me, I would be making the calls now while or in tandem with doing targeted Facebook ads, sending out weekly emails and what we call sales newsletters to my database. I'd create video content. There was a study, a book I read recently, and I think actually I shared the book with you as well. But it talked about for somebody to feel like they know you and they trust you and they like you, they need to consume 7 hours of your content.
Mm.
They need 11 different interactions. So that could be, hey, even the power of a weekly email newsletter. I'd create some kind of a podcast that drives the content. I would do some videos, but look, not social. I wouldn't get on social media and try to be a TikTok famous. That's not driving traffic. I would be speaking to the audience like our realtor partners. What's the biggest problems they have? Their loans aren't closing on time. There's no communication and nobody follows up.
Mm.
And I would begin to talk about how not only what we do solves that problem, but just creating content that has people saying, dude, I see you everywhere. I
Right.
see you everywhere. I
Right.
see you everywhere. Now, if you don't have that, that's okay. Today, what do? I make a phone call, invite them to hear their story of what they're doing to have great success, get on that meeting or get to that meeting on time. Hey there, if you're loving the tips so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss out on more cool free tips coming your way. I'd also love to hear from you. Make sure to drop a comment below and let me know what you think, or what it is you want to see next. And we'll see you on the inside. See you. See, you know what happens, Frank? And I used to do this. I didn't understand it. I thought, it's this young mentality. It's like, late is the new fashionable. And it's like my wife actually has the shirt, always late but worth the wait. And I kind of jar at her all the time. I'm like, babe, don't burn that shirt. That's not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think so. Number one, you're making the calls, making the contacts, you're having the appointments. But then even when you say, "Can I follow up with you from time to time?" It's a great meeting, and you call them every Monday, not every other Monday or every
Right.
fourth Monday. I call them
Right.
every Monday.
Right.
On Tuesdays when I do my Just Ask, and I'm prospecting a listing agent who already has a lender. Listen, the great news is every realtor has a lender. The great news is every realtor needs a lender if they're closing a finance transaction. So what does that mean? Every touch is an opportunity. And half of us miss the opportunity simply because we don't do what we say we're going to do. So
Right.
when I tee up a Tuesday update with a listing agent, say, hey, I'm going to call you every Tuesday before noon with an update on your file to ensure we're on track for a smooth and flawless closing. And I missed 2 weeks in a row because I got busy putting out fires. I
Right.
just lost trust. Trust is
Mm.
built in small kept promises.
Right.
So while I'm doing what I say I would do, while I'm using things like if I could show you, would you, which
Mm.
is a phenomenal script that piques their curiosity even
Mm.
before they trust me.
Mm.
See, you can pique curiosity before trust, but the real
Mm. Mm.
breakthrough is when they say, wow, you've showed up when you said you're going to show up. You did what you said you're going to do. You weren't a jerk. I think I like you. You asked me good questions. You
Mm.
seem intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a referral. So you
Mm-hmm.
can pique the curiosity, but the trust is built when they say, wow, he showed up every day. You know what,
Mm.
Frank? I bet, I don't know the stats, but I bet it's staggering how few people do what they say they're going to do. I mean,
Oh,
in my
yeah.
life, I know it's staggering. I'll have people say, Steve, I'm going to follow up with you next week. You never hear from them
Yeah.
ever. Like they're
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
And so I think that's number one. But I think going upstream, number two, I would start today and begin to develop your presence around the people. Like I'd get a list of the qualified agents that I'm prospecting. I'd upload them into Facebook. I'd do targeted Facebook ads, which also bounces over to Instagram. And I would create content that is not always selling, but just to stay top of mind.
Mm.
Because the more they see you, the more they're like, oh yeah, that's that dude I keep seeing all the time. And then so for me, I would do both and I would hunt and I would farm, and everything I did would be truthful. Like I would trust is built in small kept promises. And I think if you do that one thing, you'll win long term.
I love it, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the farming side of things, right?
Yeah, you
It's
and I have used influence very well. It's a rare day we get on a phone call and they don't know who we are.
right.
And I got to tell you, Frank, those calls go way better than the I had one yesterday out of the 12 scheduled calls I had. One of the guys was like, "Who are you?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
these calls aren't very fun
Yeah, right.
because now I'm trying to prove my worth. And you and I have just over the years, and it's because we were very intentional. I
Mm,
used my podcast, I used targeted ads, I
right.
used my social influence, not to troll Facebook and TikTok and Instagram, but I leverage it so that I rarely have a cold or even a warm call.
Mm,
Typically, even an agent, they'll get on the phone, they're like, dude, I can't believe I'm talking to you. And
mm,
I'm like, yeah, I'm the lender.
mm. Yeah,
Because I mean, and I know that that's awesome, but it's almost like the tides turn
right.
because of your influence, but you have to be intentional with that. And we can help. That's the kind of stuff, Frank. I know you're a genius
Dude,
at it.
I do it all day,
This
every
is
day.
this
Like every
100%, man.
single day, I am influencing in some way, shape, or
That's it.
form, right? I am
Well, and
out
not
there.
just a few, thousands, thousands and thousands
Right,
and
right,
thousands.
right. Yeah,
And
I've got
and
a
you're
big
not and
list.
look, yeah,
Yeah,
you're not trying to be like that. I think that was the biggest aha for me too, Frank. I used to think because you watch all these social influencers and it's like they got a million followers. You know what? You only need about two or 300 in your world
right. That's
to
true.
dominate. Like what I realized, and I never forget, I was talking with a good friend of mine, Kyle, and he was sitting there. We were talking about social and influence because everybody wants to be social famous.
Right.
And what we were really talking about is it's not social famous. I just want to be the mayor of my community. Like
My world,
my
my
world.
little world, right?
Hey, listen, the
My little
people I go
world
to
could be
church
300
were
people,
that
300
dude, you
realtors
will
that are
make
kick
a
butt,
fortune,
right? And you make
a
Yeah,
fortune. Like the people in my church, I would put every person in my database, every person in my realtor community, every person in my church, my workout community, like every person in my world. And you just start being the mayor of that,
yeah.
dude, you'll blow up.
You'll blow
So,
up.
hey,
Yeah.
and listen, you
Well,
can show them that.
I can
We'll
show.
get you a
Yeah.
call.
In fact,
Yeah,
I'm glad we're talking about this too, because if you're watching, if you're listening, and you want some help with that, if you want to have some clarity on how you can do this, I'm happy to talk to you.
yeah, you're a beast at this, man.
Brother. And I tell you, man, it's so funny too. A lot of times people reach out to me, it's like, man, I can't believe I can talk to you. It's like, no, very accessible, no
Yeah,
problem.
yeah,
Just go to
yeah,
frankcall.com,
yeah,
frankcall.com. If you put that in your browser, frankcall.com, like a website, frankcall.com, little calendar popped up, grab 15 minutes with me. You want to talk about doing these types of things, right? Doing this farming activity, becoming the mayor of your town. Listen, man, I've done it for 20 years. I've done
yeah,
it for 20 years. I got it figured out. It's no big deal. I'm happy to chat with you. So just go
yeah.
to frankcall.com. Give me a buzz. Happy to chat, point you in the right direction, point you to some resources. You know what I mean? And we can go from there. But man,
I
great.
love it, man.
And this will help you go from risk to trust. Because when you
Mm.
show up now, you're already kind of got a little bit of trust,
Oh yeah,
right? You
yeah,
already got a little bit of, I know this person somehow, right?
yeah,
So the
yeah,
walls
for
are
sure.
already a little lower, right? They're
Yeah.
already a little lower. Hey, man, thanks, Steve. Always a pleasure chatting with you, brother. Let's go ahead and get on out of here. So you guys have a great day. Thanks for joining us. Share, subscribe, all that kind of fun stuff. Please share it with the other loan officers that you think could benefit from this. And just reach out to me at frankcall.com. Happy to chat with
Excellent.
you. Have a good one, brother. Thanks, Steve. See ya.
So you
Wait.